What is up, fellow YouTubers? So I've consumed a little bit of malt liquor. Now imagine my chagrin when I see a female YouTuber make a video entitled "Why the Male Feminist is Hated." This isn't a video to criticize that YouTuber specifically. This is to kind of add my point to the discussion, because this female YouTuber made a lot of good points. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? Quite often, women will complain about not having what they want, and as soon as they get it, they're still not happy, you know. And that's not a sexist attack on one specific gender. That just means some people don't know what they want, which is a very common human trait to have. Sometimes when you're offered a lot of options, it's overwhelming. I get that. But the video's in my likes if you want to check it out. One of the things she kept on saying was men will use this ideology that they believe in feminism just to get some tail. And that's true. You know, a lot of men will play off women's emotions to get laid. And it's disgusting when they do that, because there are some men that do care about how a woman's treated. And, you know what I'm saying? There are some men that are respectful towards women. And even the men who are respectful towards women get disrespected because asshole men will come in and play this, "oh, I'm a sensitive guy" bullshit and not actually mean it, you know. And before we go off criticizing all men for this shit, let's not forget that women are guilty for some things too, you know. This negative stereotype that all men want is sex. That's a negative stereotype that affects men and women everywhere. It makes men look worse, and it makes women entitled. You know what I'm saying? And women constantly complain about what dicks men are for acting entitled to pussy. Like, oh, I can't believe he'd act so entitled to getting some pussy. This fucking dickhead, sexist motherfucker. But men go through this crap too. Women want to act like they're the only ones that get oppressed for their bodies. Well, the realistic truth is men get oppressed for their bodies as well. Men and women are faced with the same double standards. They just come in different forms. Men are getting bombarded with "make your dick larger" pills, and women getting bombarded with stupid bullshit like "make your boobs larger" pills and stupid shit like that. Instead of learning to be happy with what we have, humans have learned to live in excess. If you can't afford to buy the car, let's get a loan and live excessively. We'll make small little payments on it, because why not? Instead of walking or riding a bike or taking public transport until you can afford to buy a car, let's get a fucking loan. Because here's what happens. When you get a loan to buy something, it doesn't matter if it's a house, a student loan, a car loan. If you can't afford to pay back the loan, the bank will find a way to repossess your shit. And it makes life 10 times worse. So there's no sense in screwing yourself if you can't afford to do it. You know, that's all I'm jiving at. Now, banks are great for having a savings account, establishing credit, and having a debit card, and keeping money safe. But how they make their money is by suckering people into taking unnecessary loans that they can't afford to make. So someone's feeling a bit insecure about their age, they'll take out a loan to buy a brand new Mustang just to show off that, hey, someone's got a midlife crisis. They're sitting there cutting back on their food and their medication bills just so they can afford to pay for the fucking Mustang. But then they can't afford to pay for the Mustang, so the bank repossesses it. They're close to fucking dying anyway, and by the time the bank repossesses their Mustang, they're like, oh, wait, so all the gas, that's just an exaggeration, mind you. I don't mean to attack Mustang cars personally. I'm personally a fan of the Shelby Mustangs. That's my jam. Cobra Mustangs are where it's at. But you take any expensive car, etc., etc., and exert it into the same scenario, and you're going to get the same result. And they're going to realize, okay, the money I spent celebrating my midlife crisis, I could have spent that on quality groceries and medication. And this is the problem with our society. Prescription pills and groceries should not cost a goddamned arm and a leg. That shit pisses me off. Senior citizens should not have to pay an arm and a leg for groceries. Having to choose between affordable health insurance or food for their stomach. It's bullshit. But society wants to look down upon them because they choose to eat. People look down upon you because you choose to eat what you can afford. When healthier food is more expensive, people are going to opt for cheaper junk food, which is going to lead to obesity. And then you want to sit there and say our country has a problem with eating unhealthily. Bullshit. There are some people who can't control it, yes, but when the general option that's offered to you that's cheaper is the junk food and the snacks and the sugary treats, and all that shit's cheaper than eating healthy, people are gonna opt for that kind of food because you don't gotta cook it and it's already prepared and it satisfies a craving. People want to sit there and say, oh, well, you're unhealthy for smoking, but pretty much everything we do in society has a health risk, and that's just the truth of it. Even if you exercise and you stay in tip-top shape, you exercise too much, you could pull a muscle. You diet too much, you lose too much weight. You know what I'm saying? And you can maintain all that good shit without being extreme to it, and people take losing weight or gaining weight to extreme measures. That's where people get confused. This is one of the things that makes me chuckle about the dating scene, is even if a man and a woman are just friends and one's helping the other out. Okay, hey, could you help me with lifting some stuff into a cart? Just simple basic shit. People assume that, oh hey, that's his girlfriend. Oh, that's her boyfriend. And it's annoying to an extent. It's flattering, but it's also annoying to an extent. You know what I'm saying? It's really annoying because two dudes who are best friends or just homies or just friends go into a store to hang out and get some shopping done. No one says shit. Two chicks go into a goddamn store to shop for clothes. No one says shit. But if a dude and a chick who look like and are completely unrelated go into a shop or a clothing store or anything and do anything together, I'm not saying men and women can't be friends. I'm just saying men and women can't be friends. I know that sounds contradicting, but hear me out for a second. It's pretty disgusting when men and women can't be friends without society assuming they're a couple or they're fucking or, you know what I'm saying? It's irritating. And this kind of crap is the kind of crap that men and women have to deal with on a daily basis. And women get it a lot worse because society treats women like sex objects, and it's fucking disgusting. A woman can be sexy without being sexual. There's a fucking difference. Playboy versus hustler, that's the difference. Oh. Which, if you want to talk some mad shit, now Playboy at least has clothes on, so what now? Even before, it was tasteful nude, so, you know. But there are some women who are destined to use their smarts to achieve greatness and do good things. You don't have to rely on your looks to do good things. But whenever a woman who's good looking achieves great status in modeling or acting, it makes other women jealous and insecure. And it's no different than when some dude's got a big muscle car and big ass muscles, and some other dude's going, man, I wish I looked like that dude. Ah. And you stop comparing yourself to the other person, figure out your way to achieve something like that or next to best. Stop comparing yourself to other people. I get so sick of that shit. Society projects all these insecurities on us as humans. And you want to sit here and make it 10 times worse by feeling self-conscious because, oh, that dude has bigger muscles than you, or that dude has more YouTube subscribers than you do. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. That applies to both genders on pretty much every issue, if you really stop and think about it. Oh, I wish I had her hair. Shut the fuck up. I wish I had her ass. Shut the fuck up. Now, when a family member passes away that you care about, it is sad, but it's important to remember that if you're sad all the time, you know, it's good to grieve, but it doesn't do you any good to stay sad, you know. And the way I try to look at it is yes, it's sad, but I would much rather celebrate someone's legacy than grieve over their loss. You know, because that's life. We're all gonna fucking die, whether you like it or not. And it's a sad fact of life that we all have to face. You know, so there's no sense in worrying when it's gonna happen. Just enjoy every moment that you have alive. You know, make the best of what you have, even if it's not a whole lot. Even if it's not a whole lot, make the best of what you have. So that way, when you die, at least you can say, you know what, I tried. I gave it my best shot. Now, if that's not good enough, well, fuck it. And lastly, if you're single and you're young and you have a whole life ahead of you, stop your bitching because you're single. I don't want to hear it, dude. I stopped bitching about being single months ago, and it feels fantastic. It's one less goddamn thing to stress out about. Good things come to those who wait patiently enough. And that's well said, my personal opinion. Measure twice, cut once. If you're in a rush to complete things, shit's gonna get fucked up. That's just how it is. You know, it's good to talk to people off camera and talk with your homies whenever you're going through some shit. And, you know, relieve that stress and that sort of thing. Especially for men when they're told, oh, you're not allowed to show your emotions because you'll get ridiculed and your masculinity will get challenged. Fucking stupid shit. Women say they want the same rights as men. That's kind of true and kind of a lie. If women were treated just like men when it came to emotional support, you would hate it. Ladies, you call me a sexist for saying it, but you know I'm right. When it came to domestic violence, rape, or emotional supports, if you were treated just like men, if you were treated just like men, if you were treated just like men, when it came to those issues, you would hate yourself to know that your sex is responsible for the stereotype that exists within that disgusting, ugly culture. And how do you think I feel knowing that men are the stereotype for the rape culture that exists in our society? That men are constantly raping women. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's horrible to think about. Like, that my sex is a part of that problem. You know, and because that's the stereotype, nobody bats an eye when it happens to a man because it feels like, oh, swift justice, But two wrongs don't make a right, and it is what it is, dude, and it's wrong regardless what gender it happens to. Plain and simple, it's wrong regardless what gender it happens to. You know, and I think people separate their vindictiveness from their justified need for revenge. And when you get the two twisted, it can lead to disastrous choices. It doesn't have to lead to those choices, but you know, some people overreact when they get angry and they don't stop and think. I've been known to overreact from time to time, but if I didn't stop and think, I would have done a lot stupider shit, to be honest. And I full-heartedly agree with the way women think when it comes to equal rights. No, women should not be subjected to violence. Women should not be subjected, you know what I'm saying? But I also think that men should not be treated like sex addicts, and women should not be treated like sex objects. You know what I'm saying? That's just the fairest way of putting it, you know? Because that's the way society likes to fucking phase it. They treat women like sex objects and they treat men like sex addicts, and it creates this unfair double standard. And I don't agree with it, YouTube. It's not fair. Women are being told growing up that all men are just pigs, so even before they're old enough to date, every man that comes by that tries to be nice is unfairly judged just because he has a pecker between his legs. Like, really? Imagine if women were considered sluts and told that to every little boy growing up. All women are just bitches. Imagine how that would be. Oh, wait. See, society perceives women as that. So if men want to complain because women are told all men are just pigs growing up, women get called bitches all the time. So, that's fair play, dude. It's not fair to both genders, but that's fucking fair play, dude. It's fucked that society treats people like that. Not all men are hound dogs and not all women are bitches, but, the extremes ruin it for everybody. And when you do stuff that your gender is specifically known for doing, when you do stuff that your gender is specifically known for doing, it gives your gender a bad name. And it doesn't matter if you're a good person or not. And this is why you see a lot of men who use feminism as an excuse to get pussy versus men who use feminism because they respect women. A lot of men can sit there and say that, oh, they respect women, but they're just saying that to get laid. Yeah, there are some men that are like that, and it's disgusting because there's a lot of men who respect women and they don't get a fair chance because the assholes, the true assholes, that treat women like shit. I'll never understand that. If a woman gets cheated on by a dude and she decides to stick with him for some ungodly reason, maybe he makes more money than she does, or maybe he provides something in her life, you know, maybe he's the best option she's got, so she feels insecure about leaving him and she's unsure of what she wants, you know, and that'd be a horrible situation to be in. So, this is why I say you establish a career before you establish a relationship. That way, you're not making a shitty decision. If you're smart enough to establish a solid career, you're smart enough to find the right person. You know, but good things take time to establish. Good things take time to establish, YouTube. I don't say these things to piss you off. I say them to make you think. This is true red pill lens thinking, you know. When I saw this video entitled Why Society Hates Male Feminists, and it's coming from a female's perspective, not to sound sexist, but the first thing I had to think was, okay, this is from a female's perspective. And that's not to sound sexist, but it's the truth. A male and female are going to have different perspectives on things. You know, what a man considers sexist is going to be completely different from what a woman considers sexist. And that's just the truth of it. Men and women grow up in different circumstances, in different societies, different expectations. Some of them are similar to a degree, but for the most part, you know. And my point being is nobody bats an eye when if a man is hairy, disgusting, belches, farts, and scratches himself, nobody says shit. But if a woman burps and farts and scratches herself and cusses like a sailor, you know, society is told, well, that's not very ladylike. That's not very ladylike. Get the fuck out of here with that, dude. Women should not be held accountable for human actions. It's not fair that men and women get held accountable for the things that men and women do. And that's just the fucking honest truth of it. Here's your red pill. Swallow it. It's a hard pill to swallow, but the sooner you swallow it, the better off you'll be. And if you have somebody you're with, that you're married to, or that you're with, cherish them, because tomorrow is not promised. If you have somebody you're with, that you're married to, or in a relationship with, and it's going good and things are smooth, cherish it. Tomorrow is not promised. In the end, you can't control someone else's reality. You can only control your own reality. You can't control the way someone else perceives the rest of the world. If women have had a negative experience with men, then every man they meet after those negative experiences is going to be judged. And the same can be said for men who have had a negative experience with women. You know, it's unfair, but that's life. That also applies to racism to a degree. That doesn't mean it justifies either one. There's no need for racism or sexism. Life is too short for that petty bullshit. Life is too goddamn short for that petty bullshit. Life is just too goddamn fucking short for that petty fucking bullshit. We're all trying to struggle and make the best we can of our lives. So there's no sense, in petty arguments. You want an argument with concrete evidence for arguing a constructive argument? Fine. But arguing for the sake of arguing is stupid. You know what I'm saying, YouTube. Arguing for the sake of arguing is stupid. You want to argue gender equality because you're tired of the way men and women get treated, how we're held to the same standards but in different forms. That's a fair argument, But arguing just to piss off somebody else or dating somebody else just to piss somebody else off, it seems pointless. See, I'm a male. If I fart on camera, no one says shit. They're like, oh, you're a disgusting, gross pig. How dare you? You're gross. You're a male. You're hairy and you farted. Ew, you're a gross male. Now imagine if a woman farted on camera like that, just openly. People would think, well, this woman is crude. Who does she think she is? That's not very ladylike. I had to fart, and I'm just being real with it, so I'm like, you know what? Now it smells like Asperger's. That's not me asking for sympathy, that's just me laughing about that shit. I have a disorder called Asperger's, and when you fart, it comes out of your ass. So why not make fun of it? You know what I'm saying? People think, oh, that's fucking horrible. You have a social disorder, let's call it Asperger's. That's just mean. Oh no, dude, come on. That just gives me the starter for a good punchline every time. People want to make fun of me because I have autism, and I'm like, joke's on you, dude. I can make fun of myself, and that shows you that your jokes don't offend me, You want to say, I look like somebody who has Down syndrome. Oof, ouch. You want to say, I look like a tranny and this and that bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Dude, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pathetic, dude. The level in which people go to harass me. And I'm still standing here with a successful SE career. Which, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty sweet. Sometimes if we struggle, we eventually come off more successful. And sometimes our struggles will make us stronger. That's just part of being human. That's something that unites us all. Our struggles will make us stronger. Your struggles could be worse. Some pipe spun wisdom for your hungry, hungry ears. Sunday's a new week. I'll be gathering sticks and whittling wands. Keep this shindig going. I know sometimes my dog collar makes me break out on my neck, but that's the only downside to wearing it. So I'm not tripping out about it. Yeah, that's just because sweat gets in underneath it. It be the weekend, YouTube. So go out and enjoy it and make the best of it.